Welcome back to another episode of College Hockey Talk. I am joined by a member of the Cornell Women's hockey team, Elana Zingas. Welcome to the podcast, Elana, and how's everything going?
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm doing great. I'm home now with my family and had a great holiday, so doing pretty well here.
Well, that's good to hear, and I'm glad things are going well for yourself. Now, I want to start off this podcast by talking about the Ivy League because obviously they announced a few months ago that the season was going to be canceled. Where were you when you found out that news, and what was your reaction to that?
A few weeks before Thanksgiving, the morning, I think it was a Thursday, we got an email that they would be announcing it that night and on Zoom, and my coach didn't even know it was happening. All of us girls on the team knew there was a high chance of our season getting canceled, but actually hearing it was pretty tough. But I was in Ithaca with my whole team. A big part of hearing the news, I think, was that we had each other and we were all in Ithaca. My whole team was pretty dedicated and trained as if we would have a season. So finding out that news surrounded by my teammates made it a lot easier for sure. And yeah.
Yeah, and how are you going about preparing for next season, knowing you have basically a year and a half to prepare for it?
Yeah, so definitely we kept it pretty positive at the end. Skates were pretty fun. Just trying to have fun playing the game we love the last few weeks before I came home. And that was a good reset. And now that the holidays happened, I think my whole team has like a vision of 2021, like new restart. And so I'm training at home. I actually started like kind of a routine here with skating and working out, which has been nice. And so, yeah, I'm already excited for next year.
Yeah, I'm excited for the Ivy League to come back. It should be fun. Now, I'm curious, what does your training look like and what challenges have you faced doing so? Because obviously there's less ice time with COVID going around, and also a lot of gyms are closed, at least from the area I am at the moment.
Yeah, so this summer was pretty tough. Had to get kind of creative with workouts and skates. But since I've come home, rinks actually opened up at the beginning of this year. And I skate with a pretty good group of guys. And then also my gym is open. And I've been able to train with my little sister, who's also a pretty competitive athlete. So that's been really fun too.
Yeah, and what does your on-ice training look like so far? Like, what are you trying to work on?
Yeah, so since we have a year and a half, definitely a lot of time to develop. And I've always worked at my strength and power has been something I've tried to focus on. And so with all this time, I've kind of been working a lot more on just like my skating mechanics, and getting more powerful.
Yeah, did you go back to Ithaca like for the fall semester?
Yes, actually, very compared to other Ivy League schools, my entire team returned to Ithaca. A couple of girls didn't enroll, but we all wanted to be with each other, which my coach says speaks a lot for our program and our culture. And so we went through phases at school just following like COVID protocols, but we did get to all practice together in mask and we trained and prepared as if we would have a season. And so, I mean, I do not regret going back to Ithaca one bit, and I love being there and being surrounded with all my teammates.
Yeah, and was classes like all online? Because I know where I'm going to college, everything's basically online. Was that the case for Cornell this year? Because I assume that's probably what was the case.
Yeah, so we had a hybrid model, which is like supposed to be a combination of online and in person. I actually was fortunate enough to have one in-person class, which I really enjoyed. And most of my roommates had at least a discussion or something in person. So yeah, it's pretty nice.
That's good. How have you dealt with online learning? Because I know that's been an adjustment for many people. How have you dealt with it, especially going to Cornell, where there's a lot of great professors, and that face-to-face interaction is something that I think is very important, especially for a university like Cornell.
Yeah, I definitely think that most people struggled more online. I definitely did because I'm a very in person. I need to be engaged at all times. So that was a hard adjustment, but I think that finding friends in your classes, even online, is super important, reaching out to people because everyone in the Cornell community, I think, was super understanding with the circumstances we were in.
Yeah, I've been trying to deal with online classes too. It's been tough, but I've actually tried to find some positives through it. I think one positive is you can just like get out of bed and go straight to class. You don't have to like walk to it. So I've been trying to find some positives to it.
Yes, definitely. Me and my roommates, I live with 5 other girls on the team, and we found ways to kind of spice up our day especially when we weren't leaving all day, just getting a coffee together, going on a walk, getting out in between Zoom classes. So that's definitely important.
Definitely, especially at a university at Cornell. I've never been there before, but the campus seems really nice. Is there like a nice walkthrough that you can do when you go there?
Yes, Cornell is beautiful. I love it so much. Like, it's known for the gorges, but also most of the buildings on campus are super old and pretty. So definitely, I tried to get on campus even when I didn't have class, just to walk around or go to a library every day.
Nice. Now transitioning back to some hockey, what is something you think you need to improve on the most to your game, and how have you tried to improve that area of your game so far?
Yeah, definitely. I think that, like I said, my strength and my power, I need to improve upon, and I'm going to keep working on that, especially since this extended off season definitely gives me the opportunity to. And as well as just being more confident with the puck. Last year, I didn't see a ton of time, and going into next year, I'm going to be a junior. So definitely being prepared to take a role on the team.
Now, have you been watching any of the college hockey games this year that are happening?
Yes, I have been. Not too much because I, but more. I was watching the World Juniors, but
Nice.
yeah,
What's your thoughts on Team USA winning?
I was super excited for them, and it was really fun to watch.
Oh yeah, I was super pumped, especially seeing some of my favorite college hockey players play. I know someone from Harvard was on the World Junior teams. I'm trying to think of any Ivy League people that were on it, but no, Trevor Zegras. It looks very good, and I think he would definitely be a top 10 NHL player in the future.
Yeah, it was super fun to watch.
Now, how significant will the Ivy League schools' absence have on college hockey, more specifically the ECAC? Because I feel like you're already seeing it, especially with the rankings. With a lot of the top, I guess, women's college hockey's programs are Ivy League schools, and with them not playing, you see a lot of new teams in the top 10 rankings. Have you noticed any of the Ivy League schools not being in college hockey having an impact on college hockey, I guess?
Yeah, I definitely think the Ivy League is a huge part of the ECAC, and without it, it's not going to look the same. But I'm happy for the teams that do get to compete, and hopefully they will have a. I know there's obstacles with everything going on right now, but I'm excited to see some of my friends keep playing, and I wish them the best.
That's good. That's good. Now, what are your goals and expectations for next season? And my other question is, do you get like an extra year of eligibility? Because I was reading somewhere where that they're adding that to all the student athletes that didn't get to play this year.
Yeah, so starting with your first question, next year we're going to have a huge incoming class, I guess you could say, because the freshmen this year as well as the next group. So I'm super excited for the future and to welcome all those girls in. Although the freshmen this year didn't play, I was able to get pretty close to them because you kind of had to make more of an effort to make a bond this year just with COVID and the rules and restrictions. But I think it actually brought us closer as a group. So we're really excited for that. And um, as far as eligibility goes, we do all get a 5th year of eligibility if we academically and athletically would like to, and it works for us. So I think I have not decided about it yet, but everyone kind of has their own path, what will work for them.
Yeah, I want to ask you more about, I guess, being an upperclassman with a lot of new faces coming to the team next year. What type of leadership do you want to bring to the team? And are you more of a vocal or lead by example type of player?
Yeah, I think that last year as a freshman, I was super lucky, and I'm so grateful I got to play with our 6 seniors that really set the team culture at Cornell. I mean, all of them could have been captains themselves. And I just want to bring that same example to the new freshmen as well as I can. Obviously, not up to those standards, but it was so easy to be a part of the Cornell team because of the example they set. So bringing that same energy, dedication, and just family type of culture to welcome all of them into campus is what I would like to try to do.
Yeah, and how are you going to help some of the new players transition into college hockey since basically half the team will be brand new to Cornell, basically?
Yeah, I guess just like you said, leading by example, showing them what it takes to be a Cornell woman athlete. And I think that also we talk a lot about keeping ourselves accountable. So by keeping yourself accountable, you kind of lead an example for other people to be on top of themselves. And so I will try to keep myself accountable and work as hard as I can so that they can kind of see from there. But I think we have a lot of talent coming, so I'm super excited about it.
Yeah, I'm excited about it too. I was just checking out some of the recruiting classes, and some very good players will be coming to Cornell in the next 2 years. So I'm excited about that and excited to see what they're going to bring to college hockey. Now, I know you haven't played in one yet, but 3-on-3 overtime has been introduced to college hockey this year. What's your thoughts on that? And what's it going to be like being an offensive player and having more space on the ice and more chances to score goals?
Yeah, it was crazy when we all first heard that, and I think it's fun. I'm excited to see if there will be any overtime and how it'll be played, but definitely um, a lot of offensive chances with 3-on-3 and back and forth hockey. So it'll be exciting.
Now, I want to transition. I want to talk about the beginning of your hockey career. You're from Michigan. How did you start playing hockey, and how did you start falling in love with the sport?
Yeah, it's actually pretty funny. I started off as a figure skater, and my little sister is also a figure skater. And by the age of like 8 and 6, she was so much better than me. So I decided to quit and start hockey because my older brother played. And my parents really were dead set on me being a figure skater, but I had to give it up. I was just not my sport. I'm not very graceful. And ever since then, I didn't look back. I played with the boys for a few years and then just loved the game since then.
Yeah, and who was your favorite player growing up?
I'd say Datsuk. I'm a huge Red Wings fan, especially well more when I was younger, but I still follow them. And yeah, I've always just been a huge fan of his.
Do you have any of his moves? Have you tried any of his moves during like a practice or something?
Yeah, I actually used to when I was younger in like middle school, just stay up on YouTube watching his all his moves. But yeah, I definitely have attempted. I don't know if I've pulled any off, but
Well, hopefully next year you can pull one of them off. That'll be cool, and we can go back to this interview and like say that we called it.
yeah, hopefully.
Now, you were saying that you played boys hockey growing up. What was that like for yourself, and how did that help your hockey development? Because boys hockey is obviously a little bit different than girls hockey.
Yeah, so I started off in boys hockey and just played for the local team in my town. And mainly because the girls hockey in Michigan was just like a half an hour drive, and my parents didn't want to do that when I was 11, 12 years old. And so I played with a bunch of guys I went to high school with now, and I think that it made me push me into the player because I started hockey kind of late on the later on, but it allowed me to catch up. And I mean, it was a lot of fun. I don't regret playing with the boys at all.
No, it's always fun playing with the boys. Now, before Cornell, you played for Bell Tire. How did you get the opportunity to play with that team?
Yeah, so I decided I could either play another year of 14U or I could have moved up to 16U when I was younger. And I was pretty dead set on playing another year of 14U. And then the Bell Tire 16U coach reached out to me and asked me to come. And then from there, I didn't look back. I played with Bell Tire for 6 years. So it was basically the majority of my hockey career. And it's some of the best memories of my life. And I love that coaching staff and love the organization.
Yeah, and how did Bell Tire help prepare you for college hockey? Was it just like the coaches or like some of the players you got to play with?
Yes, I think it's definitely a combination of both, but the coaching staff definitely gave me my confidence. They believed in me since the beginning. And we started off losing a bunch of games. When I started 16U, we had an awful season, and I was one of the younger players. And me and my friend Anna Sigeti, she plays on St. Lawrence. We stuck with it. We were both the younger ones, and I think just developing. I played 3 years of 16U and then 2 years of 19U, so I was with it for quite a while.
Do you think having that losing season helped your hockey development in some way because it showed you the other side of the game where, things aren't going right, but you still have to remain positive and try to, I guess, help the team out to be successful?
Yeah, actually, although we were losing, I was getting the most ice I probably have in my life, just because we had such a small roster, and I think that's when I really developed because put me in some tough situations. Couldn't get the puck out of the zone, but definitely learned a lot.
Yeah, and you also played lacrosse in high school. How did playing another sport help your hockey development? Because I've noticed a lot of kids these days, they play one sport and they kind of get burnt out, just playing that one sport all year long. How did playing lacrosse help your hockey development? I guess that's the question.
Yeah, so freshman year, a lot of my friends were trying out, and I just decided to. It was kind of on a wing, and I loved it because I had never really played a sport with like my high school friends or people I had grown up with in my town because everyone I play hockey with was 45 minutes away at least. So it was a really fun experience, and I was had little experience when I started, and didn't even know how to stick handle. Sorry, you don't call it that. Cradle the lacrosse ball. So I just sprint down the field, and it ended up. It was a lot of fun, and I did not take it seriously. So I think that's a big part of why I enjoyed it.
That's awesome. And you were also a member of the USA Hockey Under 16 Michigan State and National Championship team in 2017. My question is, what was it like being part of the national championship team?
Yeah, a lot of my Veltire friends, I'm still really close with them, and we always say that's when we peaked in 2017. It was my junior year of high school, and that team, I still talk to almost every player. We were super close and had been through a lot of different adversity and obstacles throughout the year. And we went into the tournament ranked 11th, and there's 16 teams, so we definitely weren't predicted to win the national championship. But we kind of just chipped away at every game and definitely surprised some people, but it's something I'll never forget.
That's awesome. And I want to ask you, what was your recruiting process like, and why did you choose to go to Cornell? Because I know going to an Ivy League school, it has a little bit of a different recruiting process than other universities.
Yeah, so my junior year, I kind of unexpectedly heard from Cornell, and I was stoked, obviously. I was freaking out. And soon after that, I visited, and after my visit, I was dead set. I wanted to go there so bad. And I told coach right when I got home, like, this is where I want to go. And worked out. He offered me a spot, and that's basically how it happened. So I'm so lucky. It's definitely the best thing that's probably ever happened to me. So
Yeah, and what's it like to play under Coach Darrell, and how has he helped your hockey development?
yeah, coach is amazing. When I was getting recruited, actually, I remember him telling me this, and this is one of the biggest reasons I wanted to come to Cornell, is he said, any morning you want to come out, any practice, before or after, I will work with you. I will always be on the ice. And he stuck with that. All last year, if you asked him to come out at 7 a.m., he'd be there ready to get on the ice. And he's so dedicated, and he cares about every single one of us as people and on and off the ice. And I really respect him.
Yeah, and what was the biggest adjustment you had to make to college hockey? Was it the mental side of the game, making quicker decisions with the puck, or was it more the physicality, playing against players that were 4 years older than you were at the time?
I'd say a combination. I think you definitely have to be quicker with the puck, and it's kind of a shock, but I got used to that part, and the physical part I'm still working on. But yeah.
You got your first collegiate goal against Rensselaer. What do you remember from that goal, and who did you call first?
um, I remember it was the very end of the game, and my whole team was super pumped up for me, and Liner Rink was roaring. So that was basically all I remember, not even scoring the goal, but after it. And then I remember my friend Finn said, like, go tell your parents right after she took a picture of me. And I looked at my phone, and I already had like 6 missed calls from my mom and dad. So they saw it, which is nice that they were cheering me on at home because I didn't even know they watched the games.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, that's really cool. And how do you balance both academics and hockey at such a high level at such a prestigious university like Cornell? Because being a college student myself, it's hard just to balance the academic side of being a college student. But I feel like adding hockey to that makes it even more of a challenge. And then you also want to kind of have a social life outside of hockey and academics. So how do you try to balance all of those aspects of being a student athlete at an Ivy League school?
Yeah, it was an adjustment for sure, but I think a huge part of it is just took me a couple weeks to realize, but if you just ask for help, people are there for you. And especially all my teammates, just doing homework with them before and after practice and seeing how dedicated they are to it and how much time you really have to put into academics really helped me. And a bunch of girls on the team were super helpful with homework and always just there if you have simple questions. So
Yeah, no, what's it like to play at Lina Rink with such a great atmosphere and being a player in that atmosphere? It must be really fun to just be playing in that rink, I guess.
yes, that's another huge part of Cornell hockey is the rink. All the fans are great. We have like a fan club and they're amazing people that just want to talk to us and get to know us. And I never knew how big of fan base we had until I actually experienced it our first game there. And I mean, it makes the experience of playing college hockey so much better. I feel like it really brings the energy to all our games.
Nice. And I was talking to some other players who don't go to Cornell, but they're saying that like you guys don't have a warm up mix. It's like the marching band plays throughout the warm ups. What's that like as a player?
Yeah, we love when the band's there. I remember every time I walked down the stairs to get on the ice last year, the first thing I'd check if the band was at the game or not, and most times they were, which is just super exciting. It really brings the energy to the rink, and a bunch of the band players, they're always just nice to talk to and really support us and follow our games, which is super fun.
Yeah, and as an opposing player, that must be tough because you're used to a certain kind of routine when you go to, I guess, road arenas, and not having that routine might throw them off for a little bit. So it gives you guys even more of a home ice advantage.
Yeah, I mean, I probably wouldn't want to be playing us at home. Everyone makes jokes about the lineup boards as well on top of the band that we have like really old boards, which actually got redone this year. But yeah, I don't think it's our opponent's favorite place to play for sure.
Definitely not. You only lost one time at home last year, so definitely a great place to play for you. Now, what's your favorite road arena to play in, though? I'm just curious.
I think that my favorite we traveled to was Harvard because they also had like a pretty good atmosphere, and that game was just pretty fun.
That's cool. I've never been to Harvard's rink, but I need to go one day. Now, your team was obviously one of the best teams in the country this past season. How did you try to maintain that success through all the expectations your team had? Because being the number one ranked team, there's a lot of outside noise that comes with it. How did you try to stay focused on the task at hand and maintain that success throughout last year?
Yeah, I think that our team was really good at not looking at the long term or just keep our plan, basically, keep to our plan and chip away at every day. And let me think, we sustained the success just by keeping each other accountable every practice and coming to work every day. Like it really was day to day and not working at the long-term goal. So I think that was super important.
And your team lost to Princeton in the ECAC final. What do you remember from that game, and how will you use it to help you for your next year you play?
Yeah, I remember after that game thinking, this is going to set us up to, for going into the NCAA with some fire in our hearts. And I think we played a great game that day, and it can always go either way. Princeton played a great game as well, and there's nothing you can do sometimes. And unfortunately, we didn't get to prove ourselves going forward, but that's life. So, yeah.
Yeah, what emotions were you feeling after she scored that overtime goal?
Um, Honestly, a little shocked, but I wasn't as much upset. I think because we all knew the amount of talent and skill and heart that we had in that room and going forward, and we had already accomplished so much, so we just had to keep our eyes on the prize, which obviously in hindsight is hard to say, but yeah, that's what I felt in the moment.
Yeah, and you were supposed to play Mercyhurst in the national tournament before everything got shut down due to COVID. Where were you when you found out that news, and what was your reaction? Especially, what was the seniors' reaction as well, knowing they played their final college game?
Yeah, we were actually getting ready to practice right when we found out. It was super tough. Obviously, that week we had found out just different things every day. Like one day we found out we would have less fans. We found out our classes were canceled after spring break, that we'd be going online. And so we all were already feeling uneasy. But actually hearing that the season was canceled was super tough. And I really am happy and thankful though we were together. I was able to hug all my teammates and cry to them, and we all took the ice in practice together, which is a memory I'll never forget. But definitely seeing the seniors' reaction was heartbreaking. I look up to all of them and miss them so much. So
Yeah, I want to ask you, what was it like to play with some of those seniors, specifically Kristen O'Neill? She was a great captain for your team. What was she like as a teammate, both on and off the ice?
Kristen is definitely, I'm so grateful I got to play with her. Seeing her practice every day, it's like she's in a overtime of a championship game. She really gives it her all, and she works hard every day. And I really look up to her as a person off the ice as well. She has a great personality. She's so easy to talk to, so nice and humble.
You also got to play with Jamie Bourbonnais as well. What's she like as a teammate, both on and off the ice? Because we had her on the podcast before, and she's one of the nicest people I've ever met.
Yeah, Jamie is amazing. She's so fun and easy to talk to about anything. She's just a funny girl. And on the ice, she's unreal. She's such an amazing player to watch. Just, she always knows what's going to happen next before it happens. And off the ice, I love her just as much.
Yeah, she's going to be an incredible player for Team Canada in the future. I'm excited to see what her future holds for her, because I know it's going to be incredible.
Yeah, they both have a bright future, and so I'm super excited, as well as Micah, Zandy Hart. I really look up to them three a lot, as well as our other three seniors, and I can't wait to see what they accomplish in the future.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what they accomplish as well. We're now in the non-hockey segment of the podcast, where I ask you some non-hockey questions. My first one is, what music do you like to listen to on a general basis? I know we were talking about the pep band that Cornell had at Lina, but is there anything else you like to listen to?
Yeah, going into Cornell, I listened to mainly rap, to be honest, but now I've kind of ventured out. Some of my teammates have forced me into liking country a little bit. I hate to admit it. And so I'm not too picky when it comes to music. I think I listen to most genres.
Yeah, who's your go-to artist?
It changes, but I've always been a Justin Bieber fan, so never gonna give that up.
What's your thoughts on his new song that he released a few days ago, I think?
It's very good.
Yeah.
It's pretty sad, but very good artist. So
Yeah, I
I'll
feel like
always
Justin
listen to his
Bieber
stuff.
keeps getting better every day, in my opinion. Like early Justin Bieber was okay, but then like
Yeah.
later Justin Bieber was, I think, is pretty decent in my opinion. Now we're going to ask you some questions about some of your teammates. Who's the funniest teammate you have at Cornell?
Ooh, that's a toughie. We have so many funny teammates. I'd say, gosh, this is really hard. I'd say Caitlin Isaac always makes me laugh. She's in my grade, and we're just really close friends, but she's always clowning.
Now, who has the best style on the team? Obviously, you probably have the best style on the team, but besides yourself.
Thank you. I'd say Devin Pecinato. I always am asking her where she got her shirt or dress from. Every time I see her, she always looks cute.
Awesome. Now, where is the worst smelling place you have ever been to?
The worst smelling place?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say our locker room, but I'm just kidding. I'm trying to think. Worst smelling place? I don't know. That's a hard question.
I would probably say some of the visiting locker rooms in college hockey. They can get
Yes. That's actually a very good one. We had some rough ones this year. Yeah.
Now, what is the worst commercial you have seen recently and why?
Worst commercial? I don't watch just TV that often, to be completely honest, but I don't know the worst commercial. I'm sorry, I'm bad at these questions, I guess.
No, you're doing great. That's not a problem. Now, what is something you wished more people knew about yourself besides being a good hockey player?
I wish more people knew. I guess I don't talk about it too much, but I'm really into my Greek culture, I guess. And I actually dance in an annual festival with my siblings every year. And I have a lot of church friends. So I think
What's that
Something
festival
interesting.
called?
It's called Assumption Greek Festival. It's just at my church, but it's pretty embarrassing. But I put on like a full, not, I wouldn't say embarrassing. I'm very thankful for it, but I put on like an outfit and dance, which I'm not the best, but it's a lot of fun.
That sounds cool. Now, my last non-hockey question for you is if you could have lunch with anyone in the world, who would it be and why?
Hmm. Ooh, that's a hard one. Um, I think that I'd have lunch with Obama because I think
Okay.
it'd be super interesting, and I think he's a great guy. So it'd just be interesting to hear and talk to him.
What would you eat? Because he seems like a pretty healthy guy.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe salmon. I feel like that's what he would order.
Yeah, I don't know. That'll be tough. I feel like I would probably want to eat with, I don't know, probably like Zac Efron. I feel like that would be cool.
Yeah, I was about to say Justin Bieber, but I don't want to bring him back up,
Yeah.
so I went with my other option.
It's all good.
I
It's
don't
all
know. I was
good.
trying to think of someone more professional.
I feel like Justin Bieber would be cool to talk to just because like he's dealt with fame for like I don't know like 15 years now,
Yeah.
and he probably didn't really have a childhood. So I guess dealing with all that must be he probably has some fun stories to talk about. I would assume.
Yes, I'm sure.
Now back to some hockey questions. Now my first one is what should be done to help grow women's hockey? I know the NWHL is broadcasting some of their games on NBC, and the PWHPA is obviously doing incredible work for women's hockey. But what would you do to I guess help grow the sport in some way?
Yeah, I think that a lot of girls are just hesitant to start hockey. And most girls I've met that get started in a sport either have a dad or brother that's played. So just reaching out and making it more popular and promoting it, I think through like people see good hockey players and they want to play when you're young. So definitely media, TV, anything will promote it more.
Yeah, and I hope this podcast is a platform where people can listen to and kind of get other people's stories about, I guess, hockey and inspire them to become one as their own, I guess.
Definitely.
Now, my other question is, what advice would you give a younger player trying to pursue a Division One college hockey scholarship?
Um, I would say just okay, so me and my team kind of have this joke and it's the quote prove people wrong, and I would say to a young girl just like prove people wrong if you're going against the guys, if um just keep proving people wrong and you'll make it someday.
I agree with
Work
that.
hard.
Oh, obviously, definitely. Now, what were your thoughts on this interview, and what could I do better to make the podcast better as an interviewer myself?
I think this was a great interview. I had a lot of fun talking to you, and definitely when I was hesitating to answer a question, you helped me out.
Now, do you have any shout outs you like to give to any of your family members, teammates, or anyone else before we let you go?
Yes, I'll give a shout out to my mom and dad. They're definitely my biggest supporters and motivators. And my three siblings. I have an older brother, Cole, an older sister, Callie, and a little sister, Emmy. And they've definitely shaped me into the person I am. So I'm super thankful for them. And especially to have this time home with all my family. It's definitely a huge silver lining in Corona.
Definitely. Now, thank you so much for coming on the podcast, Elena. I really appreciate it. Stay safe. And I also want to let you know that you're one of my favorite players on Cornell hockey. And you're allowed to come on the podcast.
Thank you. I had a great time talking to you.
I did as well. Have a great day.
You as well.
Bye.
Bye.